Over the past 10 years, we've seen a lot of brands and businesses in fashion, sportswear, footwear, other sectors come. They've really boomed and then haven't been built for longevity. So they've reached tremendous heights and then run out of steam. So what does it take to build a brand for the long term? One which can build and grow and sustain all kinds of dramas and challenges. We've seen a lot of challenges geopolitically, globally, which can really disrupt brands, businesses, and life in general. Things like the COVID pandemic, the conflict in the Middle East, the closing of the Straits of Hormuz, Trump's tariff war. What does it take for a brand or business to be built with the architecture to sustain these kinds of challenges? Deliveries were stuck at best at 70% on time. The margin was really impacted and needed to grow. After 6 months of applying this architecture, the deliveries were up to 98% on time, and the margin was very healthy. Not all problems in a brand are down to the factory. By focusing on the architecture, rather than all the other problems we thought we had, the deliveries went up to 98% on time. Supplier payment terms went to a really good place, freeing up cash flow to really scale the business. We built the system inside the business. None of that came from the factory. It all came from the architecture. Let's talk about some transformations inside real-life brands in fashion and sportswear from my time in the industry. Have you ever moved to a new factory thinking this would solve all your problems, only to find that 6 months later you were in the same fight with the same delayed deliveries and the same quality problems? If you have, you know the feeling. You did everything right. Better factory, better terms. You thought you had it all solved. Then timeline slipped again. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You didn't really fix the problem. You exported the problem and it followed you home because the problem didn't live in the factory. The factory results are only a symptom, and the cause is the operating architecture it's plugged into. The best factory in the world would have the same outcome, because every week you're changing the brief, missing the calendar, and escalating every problem to just one person. Factory isn't failing you. The system around it was never built with integrity. And we find that founders often have their point of view on how to run the business. And this is completely normal. And yet, before you start to scale, really look at what your values are, how you communicate with your team and your other stakeholders, suppliers, people around you. I've been looking at this very differently and have been working with a group, the Salon, who we've talked about, where we look at how to live and operate in the world in business from a holistic and authentic standpoint, integrating business results with wellness and creativity, and really bringing connection as part of a leadership journey where everyone can be themselves and cause results with ease. We find with founders at this stage of scaling their business, having values in place and really being able to speak and communicate to them really helps them scale with integrity. You watch average brands win massive investments. They secure the best retailers. Their operations aren't better than yours. They just built one thing that you ignored. You're better than your reputation, and here's why it matters. The brands that win the room, the best stockists, the press features, they aren't always the best run brands. They're the ones whose excellence is visible. Authority is the architecture that turns your discipline into an advantage. Miss it and you stay the industry's best kept secret. Build it, and this is exactly where category leaders are made. I worked with Odd Molly from Sweden. So with Odd Molly, we took what was essentially a really nice brand, and we gave them an opportunity to own the outerwear space through coats that you could imagine couldn't possibly be made. And yet we took them to a really high level to the point where celebrities and even royalty were wearing them. I'm really proud of those years producing with them. Their focus on authority and their discipline in execution had them own that space in the market. How the business is structured internally is really important. But what about you? There's one brutal test for your brand, and it tells me instantly if you own a scalable business. But most founders fail it. It's the command gap. This is where every important decision still routes through you. There's no clear non-negotiables, no decision rights. You aren't running the system, you are the system. Here's the symptom, and it's a brutal one. Can you take a 2-week holiday fully off and offline without the brand wobbling? If the honest answer is no, then you have a command gap. Because if your team can't make real decisions without you, you don't have a team, you have assistants. And then you don't have a brand that can scale. It's one that's capped at your personal bandwidth. So the first thing we build is command that let the system and the brand run without you. When we look at leadership, there's new ways to approach it. Less hierarchical, top down, and more holistic. Who's willing to step up as a leader, and who can look at the business structure in a collective and collaborative way. There's lots of opportunities to really work together in profound partnership to achieve extraordinary results. If this is something that resonates with you, then DM me, because we're putting together an extraordinary group of leaders across Hong Kong and South China and expanding. So we'd love to have you there. You think scale will give you breathing room. You think when you get more cash in, it gives you the opportunity to scale, but you've got it backwards. Growth doesn't solve an architecture problem, it exposes it. Most founders believe the opposite. Instead of focusing on scaling, focus on the architecture first. The brands that scaled cleanly aren't the ones that grew the fastest. They're the ones that focused on building foundations before they grew. Let's look at that in a bit more detail. You did it, your revenue was up, but what happened to the profit? It didn't follow. And it's likely that it didn't happen in one big loss. The commercial discipline gap. Margin doesn't really vanish in one big obvious place. It generally leaks quietly everywhere. The rework on a quality issue, and the markdowns when a drop lands late. The symptom, your revenue's up, but your profit never seems to quite show up with it. Most brands of your size are losing 4 to 5 points of margin because no one has the integrated view. That's not a pricing problem, it's an architecture problem. So when we build the margin control layer, that profit comes back. And on a $20 million brand, 4 points is almost $1 million. You don't want that walking out the door. So as a fashion brand, these are the places where that's likely to be happening. Your calendar isn't on time, it's automatically causing delays throughout the system. That can impact your prices because your suppliers are having to do more and more reworks. And ultimately, it's really difficult to have the delivery on time, which again can impact your freight costs. It all compounds. The key thing is to look at every area and fundamentally work on the margin leak gap. It's not that you have a massive problem in one area of the business. You probably have small leaks all over the business. And when they compound, that's when your 4 to 5 points starts to walk out the door. Today, I've spoken about several areas of the business where architecture has become a problem, or rather the lack of it is a problem. And this is where you can focus to get your business to the next level. I focus to work with brands and businesses to address the architecture so you can scale with integrity. If you'd like to find out more, you can follow the link in the description below.